deliver the speech for the boys' class. Parents, students, teachers of BACS, and everybody in between. I would first like to state that it is a humbling honor to be chosen as this year's 8th grade boys valedictorian. This probably means I've done something right. People were nominated to give a small speech about why they would be the best valedictorian. The class voted on the individual they thought would best represent the class. Now, the way I see it, there are two ways to become valedictorian. Either you speak your heart out and express great beauty through words, or you roast the entire class on their weird day-to-day rituals. I managed to do the latter. The fact that they chose me really speaks towards the mentality of our class. We're a bunch of jokers. We joke to one another, bonding us together like brothers. We joke through thick and thin, we always find a way to crack a smile and let out a good laugh. At basically every subject, you'll find someone giggling to themselves for their own reasons. We laugh for our own reasons because we are individuals, but also we have groups of friends who share similar interests. There are so many of these interests that the class can be broken up in so many different ways. If there was a new student coming to our class, they would find the choice of groups numerous, wide, and very colorful. They would also quickly notice the many words, phrases, and slang terms thrown around by virtually everybody. Like, for instance, salty. That particular word is thrown around so much that if each use of the word were a single grain of salt, and we were to throw that salt over our shoulder for luck, we would win the lottery every year for the next 100 years. Let me give you an example of the use of the word salty. When somebody accidentally scores on themselves in foosball, a common response might be, "Man, that's salty!" Or, "Do you feel salty?" It's sort of kind of like that. The phrase, "dumb as a rock," can evolve itself into "salty as a rock," also known as halite. Another might be, "You're saltier than the ocean." There's an ongoing arms race to come up with the greatest salty joke. We have yet to see who wins. Accompanying it is the word corny, which is used as much, if not more, than its counterpart. Corny is flung around like skipping stones on a lake. "Man, that's corny! Bro, that goal is super corny!" And I'm not even exaggerating, that's usually what it's like. But there's always has to be a rock involved. "That's cornier than a rock!" I've heard that too. None of these make sense to an outsider, and yet it's used more than normal English in our class. It is interesting though, and adds a fun kind of character to us. Although we may seem fun now, it hasn't been all rainbows and lollipops. I won't sugarcoat it. There were times when we were a pretty bad class. Like, really bad. Some years it was a nightmare. We didn't handle all the screaming and the chaos, and it was terrible. But I feel we've turned a new leaf. We get stronger every year. We learn and become better people. Our laughter brings happiness, not unkindness or anger. This doesn't mean exactly we have all our stuff together all the time, though. There are still some issues we must overcome, but at least we're happier. Even when certain instances happen, we still find a way to laugh. Like in class, someone raises their hands and asks, "Can I have a snack?" We all know that person's not eating that snack. They're going to give a snack salad to someone's face. Or in plain English, he's going to throw it at some poor sucker. The class's "Are you serious?" face are sure to bring laughter to everyone. Or when you hear the Brunathan pen-clicking orchestra playing their latest symphonic masterpiece, Clicking Concerto number 52. The clicking was drowned out the lesson because sometimes there are questions like, wait, so America invaded Russia in 1939? But who can help it when you're listening to such stunning music? Now, if you were to walk in our class on a normal school day, for class about 7:50-ish, you might see a fantastic sight. A herd of 8th grade boys frantically working at homework assigned that the day before, that is due that very day, or studying for a test which is in 10 minutes. Instead of seeing this as some world-ending crisis, we see it as another opportunity to laugh. When a silly question is asked, everyone, including the question asker, all join in a great chorus of laughter. Our class, aside from all the weird terms we use, always gets into fads, obsesses over them, and talks about them every opportunity they get. This includes the biggest season sports that everyone is playing, like hockey, lacrosse, basketball, and video games. In the past, those video games may have been Minecraft, where you would spend all day talking about building houses or raiding someone on a server or getting diamonds. And of course the monsters in the game, which they just won't stop talking about. But we've graduated from that silly game and have moved on to a smaller screen, playing the massively successful Clash of Clans app. They won't stop talking about that either. Although that doesn't mean the conversation has gotten any smaller. This time you might hear, I just leveled my warlock to 87. It cost me 5,000 giant crystal pieces. Right now, one of my classmates, one of them, is correcting me on my error in their head, saying something like, they're called gems, Derek. Sheesh. I can't tell which is better. 2 individuals bragging about how many diamonds they have, or the same 2 discussing the kind of wood finish they have on their 3rd defensive wall. It is fun, though, to listen to them, since they seem to bring a genuine and deep interest into the conversations of their games. There's also another group in our class which is devoted to pens of a particular nibbiness. I am speaking, of course, of fountain pens, which also have gained a small but immensely devoted following in our class. Enough of a following that ink was spilled all over the hallway, which of course, in the fashion of our class, brought a large amount of laughter, including that of which from the spiller. 9 years ago, today, some of us sat in that very line, looking up at those big, tough 8th graders, knowing someday soon, we would be up there, leaving the school. I can truly say, it's been an honor walking in silent, single-file lines down these hallways for 8 years. Let's be honest, we weren't the quietest or the most in line this year. It was an honor being Mr. Hedison's last class, and a privilege speaking to you all today. Thank you.